Hi guys, this video is presented by Microcomputers. This tutorial is all about the basics of C language. The topics we will discuss in this tutorial are introduction of environment of C and its structure and basic syntax of C. What is C? C is a programming language introduced by Dennis Ritchie in the year 1972. A C program written on one computer can be run on the other computer without any modifications, which makes C a highly portable language. A C program is nothing but a collection of functions enabling the feature of extensibility. This feature helps us to reuse the classes and functions of one program in other. And a program is actually a set of instructions which are to be executed. As we can see here, a program is subdivided into different functions like module 1, module 2, and we can write n number of functions here. Why we use C? C keeps on fluctuating on number 1 position in the scale of programming language due to its features. C is a robust language as it can handle errors during execution and can take n number of inputs during runtime. C has a compiler that converts any program from a high-level language into a low-level language, which means the compiler during compilation changes the user-understandable program into assembly language, which is of zeros and ones. C has different data types and operators that makes a program to run and execute faster. One of the features of C is it is portable, that is, we can write a C program on one computer and without any modifications we can run the same program on the other computer. History of C. Before C was introduced, 4 different languages were developed, which are ALGOL, CPL, BCPL and B. As these languages were too general and hard to learn and were not able to deal with some specific problems, they were restored with C language. Why still is useful? C is still used in different areas due to its characteristics. C is also known as a structured language as it breaks the problem into simple and smaller modules. As you can see here, the main program is divided into smaller modules like this: module 1, module 2, and this we can write many functions like n number of functions in a module. Module is nothing but we can also call it as a functions. Next characters, it can handle bit level operations. As it is highly portable in nature, we can say C as a machine independent language. It allocates memory during runtime using pointers, which is known as dynamic memory management. Before in 1970s, C was used only for development of Unix OS, but later on C is used to develop system software like compilers, embedded systems and editors. It is also used in developing the graphics, utility programs, compression of data and in geometry calculations. Databases, OS, device drivers and system level routines are also developed through C. Nowadays, C is used widely in developing the application programs also. C environment. In order to write a C program, we should have a better understanding on the environment of C. A C program undergoes 6 phases. The first phase is edit, where we write our source code by using some editor or IDE. Preprocessor phase. In this phase, the preprocessor routines that are already available process the program. In the compiling phase, here the compiler converts the source program into object code. Link. In this phase, external references are resolved and produce an executable module. Here in the load phase, the program is put into the memory. Execution. The program is run in this phase. Here is the backend process. In the phase 1, the program is edited in the editor and stored on the disk. The preprocessor processes the program, the code, and stores on the disk. The compiler creates an object code and stores on the disk. And in the phase 4, and this is the linker phase, where the library files, all the C library files are linked and stored on the disk. In this load phase, that is phase 5, the program is kept on the memory. And then in phase 6, each instruction is executed and stored, and its new data values are stored on this primary memory. Executing a C program. Steps for execution of a C program are: firstly, a program is to be created and saved. Then the program should be compiled. If there are no errors, the programs with the function are linked that are needed from C library. Finally, the program is executed. Here the backend process, what happens is, first the program is written, and then the compiler converts the source code into the object code, and in this linker phase, the library files, all the C library files that are needed in a program are executed, are linked here and then executed. Structure of a C program is divided into various sections. As you can see here, documentation section. It has documentation section where the programmer writes the details regarding the program that is written for easy understanding. In link section, we write all the library files that are necessary while writing a program. In the definition section, here we write all the symbolic constants. Global declaration. In this section, global variables are declared. Global variables are variables that are used in more than one function. User-defined functions are also declared in this function. In this section, main function section. In this section, every C program must have one main function. This section contains two parts, that is declaration and executable part. The declaration part declared all the variables used in executable part. There is at least one statement in this executable part. These two parts must appear between opening and closing braces of main function. Here, opening and closing braces of the main function. The program execution begins at the opening braces and ends at the closing braces. The closing brace of the main function is the logical end of the program. All the statements should end with a semicolon, as you can see here. This printf is a statement which is ended with a semicolon. Semicolon is a terminator in C language. It's just like a full stop used at the end of the sentence, indicating the end of a sentence. Subprogram section. If the program is a multi-function program, then the subprogram section contains all the user-defined functions that are called main function. User-defined functions are generally placed immediately after main, but we can also write them anywhere within the program. But for our understanding, we write after main. Before we go through basic building blocks of C, let's see the sample code printing hello world. Here in this sample program, this is a simple program where we write here, this is the documentation section. In this we write, for our understanding, this is the first program written in comments. And in the link section, we write #include stdio.h, where this is a header file including the input-output header file. This is a preprocessor directive. We will see in the different parts of C program in the next topic. This is after this topic. And this main function, this is the main function, which is written in the open curly braces and closing with curly braces. This is an executable part. There here different parts of C program. In this we have preprocessor, header file, function, variables, expression and comment. In this certain program, we are calculating area of circle. Here hash include, hash define are preprocessor directives, and stdio.h is a header file. In order to define some constant values, we use hash define preprocessor directive. This is the main function, which is having a return type int. Coming to variables, float radius is a variable. This variable definition, where float is a data type and radius is a variable, and float area is also a variable, where float is a data type. And here expression is area is equal to pi into radius. This is a expression, so it is ended with a semicolon acting as a terminator. Each and every statement, as you can see here, every statement is ended with a semicolon to indicate that it is a to say the compiler that it is a full stop, and the comments are written in the front slash with the front slash here. Preprocessor directives. In the preprocessor directives, we have hash define. Its function is it defines a macro substitution, and hash undefined undefines a macro, and hash includes a file in the source program. Hash if def tests for macro definition. Hash end if specifies the end of hash if, and hash if end def checks whether a macro is defined or not. Hash if checks a compile time condition. Hash else specifies alternatives when hash if test fails. Coming to header files, in the header files we have stdio.h that includes all the standard input and output functions. Math.h includes all the mathematical functions, and stdlib.h, in this all the library files, standard library functions are included. And in string.h all string manipulation functions are included. C type, in this all character manipulating functions are included. Conair.h, in this all console input and output functions are included. Basic syntax of C. Characters in C program are the basic building blocks equal to letters in English language. They are used to form words, numbers, and expressions. Characters are grouped to form letters from lowercase to uppercase alphabets like A to Z, from A to Z. 0 to 9 numbers are grouped as digits. Special characters like @ ampersand, underscore comes under special characters, and blank spaces, new line, horizontal tab, such characters comes under white spaces. C tokens. Let's consider a passage of text in which individual words and punctuation marks are called as tokens. In C program, the basic element recognized by the compiler is a token. The different types of C token are keywords, identifiers, constants, strings, operators, and special symbols. These topics we will discuss in further tutorials. As you can see, for keywords like here the tokens, keywords int, float, while. We have 32 keywords. We will learn in the further tutorials what is all about keywords and identifiers, constant. All these topics we will discuss in next tutorials. For this tutorial, you just remember that keywords are nothing but here int, float, while, like this. All the keywords, these are just reserved keywords, and identifiers like sum, main, constants like 100, -55.5, like that, and strings A, B, C, which strings should be written with double quotes, and operators like plus, minus, star, front slash, plus, and special symbols like curly braces, square braces. Coming to what is a function. A function is nothing but a subprogram. Its job is to do some task. A large program is divided into many subprograms. A C program contains at least one function, that is main. Classification. Functions are classified into two types, predefined and user-defined. Predefined functions are the functions that are already defined in C library, and the functions that are customized by the user are called as user-defined functions. Predefined functions, example like main. Main is a predefined function, whereas user-defined function we can write any name with like POW is a user-defined function. CIL is a user-defined function where we can pass arguments here in this braces. How the function works. So C program does not execute the statement in the function until the function is called. When function is called, the program can send the function information in the form of one or more argument. When the function is used, it is referred to as the called function. Function often use data that is passed to them from the calling function. Data is passed from the calling function to a called function by specifying the variables in an argument list. Argument list cannot be data is passed from the calling function to a called function by specifying the variables in an argument list. Argument list cannot be used to send data. It can only copy data or value or variable that pass from the calling function. Function prototypes. Function prototypes provides the compiler with the description of function that will be used later in the program. It defines the function before it can be used or called. Function prototypes need to be written at the beginning of the program. The function prototype must have a return type indicating the variable that the function will be returned. Syntax for function prototype is first it should have a return type, function name followed by argument type and then name. We can have n number of arguments. Function prototype examples are like this: void print report int is an argument type, report number is a name of an argument. Coming to function definitions, it is the actual function that contains the code that will be executed. It should be identical to the function prototype. The syntax for function definition is it should have a return type with function name and with the arguments, with n number of arguments. This is called as a function header. The declaration, statement and return is a function body, forms a function body. As you can see here, we will take a example, int sum. Int is a return type, sum is a function name. Int is a data argument type and a is a formal parameter. Int is again a data type and b is a formal parameter, and this is declaration. Int c is a declaration, which is local declaration. Statement is c is equal to a plus b. Return c is an expression. C is an expression here. It is returning sum here. After sum of two variables is returned. Well, thank you guys. Do subscribe, share and comment.